Hello everyone! I recently reviewed Legends of Signum II Warseer by Signum Games on my channel. It's a pretty interesting and some kind of unique skirmish wargame, with very diverse gameplay and a lot of different factions, almost like a SSG with miniatures. But more than that, the game has a lot of different game modes, and in the review we learned about the so-to-speak basic mode, without finances and special management. But I really want to show you that Legends of Signum Warseer is a much deeper and more diverse game than the basic elements you have already seen. So in this video, I want to introduce you to the tournament mode, and also go deeper into solo. However, if you're not familiar with Legends of Signum II Warseer and haven't watched my review yet, please do it, because I'm not going to dwell on the basic rules. I'll only concentrate on the nuances of the game modes. So in tournament mode, players play several matches in a row, either 5 or 7 depending on the length of the tournament, and the main idea of the tournament is that you need to score more points than your opponent at the end of the tournament. However, there are a lot of interesting things about the tournament mode compared to the basic game. First of all, the rulebook specifies the rules of each new game of the tournament, and the goal that must be achieved to end the game. So first you prepare the battlefield in accordance with the selected map, and then for a new game you choose one of the available scenario cards, which indicates not only the initial conditions for the placement of terrain and additional elements, but also special additional rules. For example, at the beginning of the game you place special landmark tokens on the battlefield, so to speak, key locations, and during the game for each token you control, you gain additional heroes power. And for controlling the bigger amount of the tokens than your opponent controls, you gain an additional victory point. Or you will have separate tokens on the battlefield for each player, and you can capture them when you are next to this token by rolling a black die, and if you are successful, you will capture this token and gain 1 victory point, or even an early victory if you capture all the opponent's tokens. That is, each scenario has unique additional rules that really bring new strategy options to your games. In addition, during the preparation of the match, there are 2 additional parameters of the deck of feat cards that need to be taken. For example, in the first one we take only cards marked 24 or less, as well as this indicator. These are dragon coins. You need these coins to build your squad, that is, to recruit new characters as well as to buy improvements. And not only that, but more on that I'll tell later. But at the beginning of your tournament, you get a special notebook sheet to record all your achievements, like dragon coins or points gained. So to add characters, we have a special card with a price for each type of character. At the beginning of each game, you can spend coins to recruit no more than 1 character of each rank. So now we have spent 65 coins on 2 characters. But you can also spend your money on improvement cards, and each player will have their own deck, which is divided into 4 types: building cards, relics, spells, and tactics, just like the cards in our battle deck. So to buy a card, you need to pay the specified amount of coins. By the way, all your buys should be noted in the tournament sheet. As for the buildings, these are permanent cards that a player can activate at the beginning of each game during preparation. Usually they allow you to find a specific building card in the deck by adding it to your city zone. But you can play relic cards every time you summon a new character to the battlefield, assigning this relic to it, thereby giving it certain bonuses. Spell cards are played during preparation and provide you with a one-time bonus, such as recovering one of your characters, adding armor to your hero, or replacing a card in your deck. A player can have only 1 tactic card, and it can be played at any time in the game and allows you to enter the battlefield with a yellow star. By the way, tactic cards, like spell cards, are disposable. They return to the improvement deck after use and can be purchased again in a new game. By the way, I also want to mention a couple of interesting things that you will experience during the game. For example, if your character was destroyed during the game, you have to mark this character as injured in your tournament sheet. Of course, this character remains yours and you can use it in your matches, but if you put an injured character on the battlefield, it enters the game with only 1 health. However, you can fully heal it either by simply not placing it on the battlefield during the match, in this case it is automatically healed, or by paying a certain amount of coins during the resource and purchase phase to heal it. In addition, on the back of your tournament sheet there is a list with achievements, And this is an additional feature of the tournament mode. It contains various conditions that you need to achieve during the game, such as playing an arena card, or at the end of the match your opponent has at least one injured character, and you immediately record the fulfillment of the condition in your sheet as soon as it happens. And at the end of the match, you receive the specified reward, certain cards, or victory points. In addition, each match has a small boost for the backmarker, who receives 3 additional coins at the beginning of each round for each point of difference with the leader, and you can also exchange victory points for coins at a rate of 1 to 3. So as you can see, the tournament is a completely different game, built on different ideas and a long-lasting game where instant strategies are not as important as the global idea of having the most points in the final. This is a kind of coin management, the fulfillment of goals, and all of this adds a new level to the game, which of course makes the game much deeper. After all, you gradually build up your squad by adding new characters, improvement cards, and you do this by adjusting to your opponent, trying to block their strengths and press their weaknesses. But such tournaments certainly take a lot of time, unfortunately. And now, let's examine the solo mode, because as I see it, the direction of playing solo has been gaining more and more demand lately. So here, you also play a whole campaign. That is, you will use the same notebook, and at the beginning of the game, you form a stack of scenarios that you will need to go through. All of them are divided into difficulty levels, and you must create a stack of 6 cards, and each card, in addition to the preparation of the battlefield, indicates additional rules of the scenario, the condition of victory, and the enemies you will meet during the game. And these enemies, as you understand, will be played by the game itself according to a certain algorithm. But more on that later. Also, the scenario cards have the indicator, the number of feat cards that you must add to your Hall of Fame. However, these are not the cards that are included in the basic version, because there is a separate deck of feats for solo play, and these cards work differently in this mode. They now become a round counter and a limiter for your game. Since now, during your turn, you must draw one of these cards from your Hall of Fame and activate one of the specified bonuses by removing the card from the game. And if at some point you need to take a feat card and it is not on your tablet, you will immediately lose the game. However, during the game, you will add one such card to your Hall of Fame for destroying your opponent. What is also interesting is that, unlike other modes, at the beginning of the solo game, you get a choice of one of the specialization cards, which gives you initial bonuses, as well as a certain amount of coins that you can spend both on recruiting characters for your squad and buying improvement cards. And of course, it also lists your enemies, each of whom has a specific card, as well as a possible boss who will have additional properties. However, in addition to this, in each scenario you have to choose an additional level of difficulty according to this table. That indicates which scenario modification cards will be in the game. They are divided into 3 types: buildings with permanent abilities, relics that are added to the boss and give him bonuses, and spells that also have a permanent effect. All these cards work during the game, but unlike other types, they cannot be removed from the game. So during the game, you and your opponent take turns making moves. Your turn is generally no different from the usual one. But in the opponent's turn, you must independently perform all the actions for them by activating each enemy character on the battlefield in any order. In general, ordinary enemies indicate the actions they must perform, such as move and attack, and the target they are trying to reach, as here first your closest character, and then, if there are several of them, the weakest. And the actions are performed according to the basic rules of move and attack. However, if the target is already within attack distance, moving is not necessary. In addition, some characters, especially bosses, have a slightly different activation, namely, you must first roll a certain number of dice before starting, and then sequentially perform the specified actions from top to bottom. So if you have rolled a specified face, you perform the specified action as many times as the rolled faces demand. And if there is no such result, you skip the specified action. However, triangle actions are mandatory and never skipped. And I'd like to mention this part of the opponent's tablet, which indicates reactions. So when you attack such an enemy, you must roll a black die and perform the indicated action in response to your attack. To be honest, the actions of enemies, especially bosses, are very diverse, including imposing various curses on characters, increasing their stats, and summoning new enemies to the battlefield, so you need to roll the dice very carefully. By the way, at the end of the enemy activation phase, if you have an event table in your scenario, you must roll a black die and activate the specified effect according to the marks on the scenario card, and usually these events never bring you anything useful. Otherwise, the game proceeds in the same way. You try to destroy your opponents, gaining feats and victory points for it. And upon successful completion of the scenario, you get points for your remaining feat cards and convert them into coins according to the specified rate. After that, you start a new scenario again from the stage of buying new improvement cards, characters, or recovering them. Solo is again a new twist in this game. This option is not similar to the others because its main concept is to destroy enemies, not only for winning points, but to destroy them, because if you do not, the cards in the Hall of Fame will run out and you will lose. And they really filigree this moment because it was by drawing these cards that the round's limit was introduced. That is, no matter how many moves you want to take, your round can't have more than 21s. As for the scenarios themselves, they are really cool. A lot of interesting things, different bosses and characters, each time you have to adapt in a new way, which shows that even those who don't like solo games can find something for themselves, because this is a new way to experience Legends of Signum game from a different angle. And that's all I wanted to add about this game. I think it is unjustly neglected and deserves to be known by more people. At the end of my review, I'd like to say, if you liked this video or found it useful, don't forget to like it and leave a comment. Thank you all for watching, and a special thanks to all my sponsors. Take care of yourselves. Everything will be Ukraine. Bye.